Hey people, welcome to the Run Testers. It's Kieran and Mike here, and we are in, well, it was sunny Malaga. It's now started to rain, and we are here for the latest in our series of videos in partnership with Precision Fuel and Hydration. And we're out here to test the shoe. Mike, what's the shoe we're testing?
We are testing the ASICS Metaspeed Sky Plus.
But before we get into looking at that super fast shoe, a shoe that's basically aiming at making you go really fast, chasing PBs, there's one cold hard truth that we wanted to share with you, and that is basically, if you don't get your fueling right, particularly when you're doing those kind of hard and fast runs over 90 minutes, it doesn't really matter what shoes you're wearing, right, Mike?
Absolutely.
So, how do you know if you're going to get the right amount of carbs in your system? You need to be fueling smart.
Yeah.
One way to do it is if you head over to Precision Fuel and Hydration, they've got a handy carb calculator that will give you a better indication of what you're going to need when you're chasing down those PBs over those runs. So you dial in all of your details and it will spit out how many carbs you need to carry to go hunting those fast times. Whilst you're over there, check out their kind of excellent range of chews and gels and hydration products, all things that are made to help you hit those running goals.
Absolutely.
In terms of those key stats, the Metaspeed Sky Plus has the same 39 to 34mm total stack and 33 to 28mm midsole stack as the original Metaspeed Sky. It also has the same 5mm drop, has upped the weight to 205 grams versus the 199 grams on the original Sky. The Metaspeed Sky Plus remains the shoe ASICS says is designed for what they refer to as stride runners, who increase their speed by extending their stride length. The Edge Plus is designed for cadence runners, so that's runners who increase both cadence and stride length. ASICS says it's created the Sky Plus with a design that puts the foot closer to the carbon plate. That compression is now spread over the full width of the shoe, and there's more of the foam compressed by that repositioned carbon plate, which can deliver a higher bounce. With the Edge Plus, the foot now sits more on the foam and takes into consideration that compression of the foam is happening more locally, where less foam is compressed by the carbon plate to produce a more accommodating shoe for racing. In the upper department, ASICS has altered things for both shoes with a new motion wrap upper that's made from a lightweight woven mesh, and along with a new look shoelace and thin perforated suede tongue, is designed to offer a more secure hold. The Sky Plus also features a new last that's designed to increase toe spring and offer a more anatomical fit in the toe box. Getting into all things midsole and carbon plate related, both include ASICS' nylon-based FF Blast Turbo Foam, which offers the same level of softness as the FF Blast Plus in something like the Nimbus 24, but is lighter and offers more bounce than ASICS' other foams. The Sky Plus has more of that foam this time, particularly in the forefoot, with a 4mm increase on the Blast Turbo Foam used in the first Sky, offering 16% more foam volume. On the Metaspeed Sky Plus, ASICS has adjusted the carbon plate position to sit higher and closer to the foot, putting more foam on the forefoot plate and offering a plate with less curvature. For the Edge Plus, it's positioned the plate closer to the ground and put more foam under the forefoot, offering more curvature in that plate. With the outsole, ASICS has tweaked things here as well, with a change in the pattern, though it does seem to leave more of the foam exposed this time. On the Edge Plus, that design change is more noticeable at the back of the shoe, which runs down a bit further for when runners are hitting more at the heel.
So Mike and I are out, we've got the ASICS Metaspeed Sky Plus on our feet. As soon as we got on, we came out, we're running by the sea here in Malaga. We're just taking them for a first run. And yeah, we're gonna let you know exactly what we make of them right after this. I think the plan is what, 10K Mike?
10K, I think.
We're doing a fast 10K. Mike's making me run faster than I have for about a year and a half. So here goes. So that's it, we are just back from a fairly speedy 10K.
And mainly my fault, yeah.
Mainly, I mean, he was putting me through my paces this morning in the ASICS Metaspeed Sky Plus.
Yes.
New shoe from ASICS. Mikey,
Yeah.
how did you find it on those first few miles?
So, I mean, I found it very similar. Obviously, I've run a fair bit in the Metaspeed Sky. I've done 2 and 3/4 marathons in them now. I felt the fit was very similar. I got kind of the same kind of space up front in the toe box. I thought, no kind of major differences there. I think there's some changes in the upper that I would probably notice longer term, say the changing in the laces, which I didn't have issues with particularly, but I know some people maybe had experiences in terms of the laces kind of fraying a little bit, but I didn't have any problems. So things like that. I mean, the padding generally, it's a nice and light shoe. It actually has jumped up a little bit in weight, according to ASICS. Not something I really noticed in my run. I think the main thing I was looking at was the fact there's more of that foam in there, particularly under the forefoot. So it's not something that I really noticed in that 10k run. I definitely think over a longer distance, I think I would get a better sense of how much that makes a difference in terms of the shoes, in terms of how they compare with the original Metaspeed Sky. But it felt very similar to me on that first 10k run, personally. The other thing as well, I think for me, the outsole. I mean, the biggest issue I had was, on this here at the back here, I got a lot of kind of wear. I'm onto my kind of second pair in the Metaspeed Sky. They've kind of bolstered here in this area, which I think, I probably needed it back in the heel. That's where I've seen most of the wear on my shoe. But it's good that they are doing that. I mean, the grip that you get, it's very much similar in terms of the silhouette and the design that you got on the original Metaspeed Sky. So from there, I think it's going to be good in terms of traction. But yeah, I felt it was very similar, and things I think that have changed. I think I would probably notice on the longer distances and maybe a longer term kind of testing as well. How about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, you've done more miles definitely in the last generation of this shoe. But for this sort of kind of first 10k, again, kind of running at faster pace. So I'm quite tired legs today on that second run because I ran this morning. But first things I noticed with the shoe, I always judge it, the moment I put it on, I kind of feel like it's comfortable, it holds the foot well, nice and light, has that kind of disappearing feel that I look for, but feels kind of punchy underfoot the minute you put it on. And I feel like it's performed really well on that first 10k. I think there's plenty of it's plenty roomy enough. There's one thing with the overall fit, I would go true to size in this shoe, I think. One thing I've noticed with the tongue is it's quite a minimal tongue and it's quite thin. And I've got quite big, high, kind of broad feet. So it doesn't quite close over and wrap the top of my foot as much as I quite like in some shoes. That's one thing I would notice in terms of the lacing. Lace lockdown I found to be fine. And yeah, I think this is a kind of poppy race shoe. Yeah. But I could definitely see myself going up to a marathon kind of race in it. Yeah. One question I had, about kind of this versus a Vaporfly was whether or not I felt like it was quite as punchy. Yeah. But I've enjoyed it. I think it's actually, to me, feels a little bit more overall kind of stable than a Vaporfly. And if that's kind of true. One interesting other sort of thing is I think there's a little bit of a heel cutaway still here. Yeah. And so if you do tend to kind of fall back on your heels a bit, there's not much here on this bit that's going to protect you.
No, absolutely.
I'm more kind of forefoot, so I don't kind of notice that, but that's something you might want to be aware of. I enjoyed it. I think it was nice and light, nice and punchy. Again, on tired legs, it kept me going at kind of sub 7 minute miles there for at least kind of 3 out of the 10 before I fell away.
I think that ultimately the thing is there was a lot of things that ASICS got right with the original Metaspeed Sky, and obviously there is the Metaspeed Edge Plus as well, which we haven't run in, and that is coming out as well with this shoe. I think this is a shoe that most people out of the two are probably going to be looking at, are going to be going for. I think it didn't get a lot of things right, wrong with the first version. I think it feels like tweaks that maybe I'll get a better sense of longer term. I think in testing, definitely longer kind of distances. Well, I think it still excels best, I think. I'm not a sub 3 hour runner where I think, this is very much an elite shoe. It has worked well for me, I think, personally, and I'm probably 3:20 kind of marathon runner now as well, but it's worked for me. I do think it, a bit like some of the other shoes, it is kind of aimed at that level of runners. Well, so
we had some interviews this morning with the shoe developers and the main designers, and some of those did say to us that this is a shoe and that is designed really for elites and sub 3 hour marathon runners. That basically it doesn't mean that people who are running slower than that might not be able to wear it and get on with it, but they've really targeted this at that kind of level and that kind of pace. And the other interesting thing is that obviously the two shoes, the Edge and the Sky Plus, split between what they call a cadence runner and then a stride runner, which I think stride runner is kind of a synonym for heel striker, but I'm not entirely sure. But essentially what they're saying is that they've identified two different runners and they've created two shoes that will help both those runners run faster with more control
based on their running style.
What's really interesting is I don't really know which of those we are, and we've been given the Sky Plus to run in. I think I'm a bit more of a cadence runner, but
and that's the thing, it's kind of worked for me, but I don't know whether actually the Edge Plus might be a better fit for me. Hopefully we will get that in to test as well and be able to gauge how that kind of compares in terms of performance. But I think so far it feels very similar to me so far in terms of the original Metaspeed, which is a good thing in a way, but it's just whether those improvements are going to warrant jumping up to the Metaspeed Sky Plus,
Yeah.
or maybe picking up the Metaspeed Sky at, at a cheaper price.
The only other thing I have to say about this, and this is maybe, I'll test this further for the full review,
Yeah.
but coming back off that, towards the end of that, I did feel some kind of heat under the kind of balls of my feet, hot spots sort of developing, and that'll be interesting to see how that holds up over 26 miles if you're going to think of this as a marathon race shoe. But my first impressions are this is a really good solid race shoe. This has made me want to go and run in it more for sure. I haven't put it on and thought, not a chance. I think, potential kind of Vaporfly rival contender.
Yeah, I think my first impressions ultimately is this is probably, I haven't run a lot in the kind of Nike Super shoes. I have got the Alpha Fly that I am going to be kind of race testing in the coming months. I think for me this has been just a really kind of strong shoe for me. The original has, and I feel that similar traits about this shoe is in place as well to make it a really strong, I think, marathon shoe. I think ASICS will probably say it can work across all distances. I feel like it's a very strong marathon shoe personally. I know Nick kind of feels it can work at shorter distances as well. So yeah, good first impression off that first run. Feel very similar to the original Metaspeed Sky, and yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to running a bit more in this shoe when I start my marathon training again.
So there you have it, that's our first run thoughts on the ASICS Metaspeed Sky Plus. That's a 10k run. Tomorrow we've got something else coming up for you on the channel. What are we doing tomorrow, Mike?
Yeah, so the elites are running tomorrow. We're also running. We're going to do a 5k race test in this on the course that the elite runners will be running on as well. So we'll give you a video on that as well to see how we get on, running a little bit quicker if we can after today's run.
Got any targets?
I don't know, just not blow up basically. I might have a little go, yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
If I go sub 20, I'll be a happy man,
yeah.
Put it that way. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe. Ring that bell if you want to get notified when that other video from tomorrow goes up.
Yep.
We'll obviously also have the full review of this coming out, a multi-tester review once everyone else gets their feet in these shoes as well. Thanks for watching. We're off to go and get some sangria.
Adios.